Hello today, this is Robert Liardon. We're here with Kellie Copeland, and I'm so glad to be with you. Your family is a big part of my life. I was a little boy in Tulsa when I used to hear your dad and your mom come and preach, and it's always great to be around all the Copelands and to come to the Eagle Mountain Church. It's always fun to be a part of that, but I'm glad to have you here today.
Well, I'm so glad to be here, and I really not only admire what you've done, the research and the care you've taken with people's lives to present their stories, because it's a treasure. It's as important as the American history, the church history. It tells us the possibilities.
Yes.
When we read things and we hear things that you've written about Maria Woodworth-Etter, or even Kenneth Hagin. And
We're working on the Word of Faith volume of the God's Gentle series. It's going to be a little bit bigger because I know everybody, and I interview them all person. I grew up with them, so it's a lot more stories for it. But a lot of people in the faith, we still get criticized. You know, it's amazing that Brother Hagin's been with the Lord for a while, and they still treat him like he's out there preaching somewhere tonight, and they're mad at him. And they're mad at the message more than the messenger, really. That's really what it is. When someone graduates to heaven, they're still mad at the person. They haven't figured out it wasn't him, it was the message.
Yeah.
And I love that the message keeps echoing and keeps growing. And there are people today that thought we were all false prophets and bad, and now they're preaching our sermons.
Well, here's what I think. I mean, I actually haven't said this a lot publicly, but I think about the people that, like, for instance, hate my dad, and he's a heretic, and he's awful, and he's stingy, and he's stingy. Even the people, there's so many people that maybe they don't follow him, but they have heard how generous he is to give, and they call him because they've heard that. And he's like the most generous person I know, and he puts his money literally where his mouth is.
Yes.
He trusts the Lord. But I think about preachers in their pulpits preaching against him, but they drive a nice car and they live in a nice house, and they have no idea that had to be broken.
Yes.
And Dad was part of a group of people that had to do with breaking the spirit of poverty off of the church.
For over 1,000 years, 1,200 years of church history, they gave us Christian truths with a lie in the middle of poverty. You're supposed to be humble, and all those things are true, and in the middle of it was the poverty lie. So we swallowed all of that, thinking that was a part of it. So when your dad and the other people of that time begin to hit and begin to preach what we call the prosperity message or the provisional message, you're not just hitting the folks around, you're hitting 1,200 years plus of a poverty inbred into the gospel message that was wrong.
Yeah.
And so I'm so glad I live in the day where the prosperity boys showed up, because I grew up in Pentecost where we mainly got rescued. We weren't as bad as the Catholics, so we live in poverty, but he rescued us right before midnight. So that's all we knew, like right before your car gets repossessed, God will help you out. That's what we were told. So the first time I heard a prosperity message was your dad at Victory Christian Center. I went there and they asked your dad to take up the offering for his ministry. And I never heard a guy say this: I don't need your money. My bills are paid 2 months in advance, or whatever, that was 2 months.
Yeah.
And so you need to sow according to what you need. Well, I had my offering. I said, well, if he don't need it, I'll give it to somebody. I'll put it back in my pocket. That was the first time I registered hearing a prosperity offertory that I reacted to. And I'm so glad. I went back and bought those days of cassette tapes, because he kept saying, I don't need your money. My bills are paid 2 months in advance. Well, all of my preachers in my family were poor. We were always behind. We didn't have stuff. So that's what I thought ministry was. And I thought, maybe he didn't say that. So I went and bought the cassette to see if he really said it. And he did. And that's when I decided, if that's possible, then I want it.
Yeah.
Because I can't do my call by rescues. I will die of stress. I will quit. I will give up, because you can't live like that. So I want to say thank you to you and to your family and to other prosperity preachers, because that word's positive to me, that they took the step to do it and go through the warfare. But I don't know if they realize they're fighting over 1,000-year-old teaching.
But look, I'm thinking about, we're surrounded with noise, but how much money is in this room?
Yeah.
What it even took to get here. What it took to build a ministry, to get here, to have the equipment, to even put the gospel out all over the world. The gospel prospers because people have to prosper for that to happen. And, you know, Roberts, I don't know if you've, I really would like to share something with you, because I felt like for a little while now, it seems like to me that you know, God's called me into this place to be a bridge.
Yes.
And not just to connect us all in the body of Christ as brothers and sisters, but that is important to me. But it began because I needed something that was not in my camp. I prefer the word tribe, but whatever. Camps sound very stagnant to me. You know, you're camped. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the things that I needed for the soul. And I knew enough I just cried out to God. I said, I feel like there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with my soul, I think. And I don't know anything yet. And he sent me people to listen to, which took me out here. I didn't go out here to make some business connection. I didn't go to the prophetic world for that. I didn't go to the worship world I went because I was in a deficit in my personal life. And when I gained it, it's like everything became so clear where the devil was hurting me. And he wasn't hurting me in my fortified area. He was hurting me where I was broken.
Yeah.
But in that, I had already felt that I just really did want to be a bridge, but I didn't know how to do it. And that caused bridges to be created. But I'm shocked at now, I went recently to this church conference in Dallas, and they asked me to do a 10-minute offering. First of all, that to me, you know, that is something to speak a word in 10 minutes. I just didn't. But I was like, okay, Lord.
You're Copeland. Things take time.
I'm working on the other, you know, be able to be quick. He can say a lot in less time, so I've tried to really lean into. But they asked me to do a message and talk about faith, and it's not people that don't like completely committed to the Lord in this church. They are like on it. God did some things in my own life with worship and some presence things in that building.
Yeah.
So these are mature people. But I'm asked to talk about faith. They wanted me to tell some of my stories about when I believed God for a horse or a boat, and I'm a kid, like 6 years old. And it was God did amazing things for me as a kid. But they asked me to tell these stories. So it came down to this. A 10-minute faith message boils down to, is God your source? And I was just able to give them this quick, simple message. If you are withholding, I was withholding my emotional life from the Lord, didn't even know it.
Yes.
And and it was based on what I knew about not being led by my emotions. It turned into not letting my emotions have their place.
Yep.
And the devil playing there. I'm giving them this message about giving and about money and finances, believing God. It basically comes down to, if he's not your source, whether it's healing, you don't know if he'll heal you and you're afraid, so you withhold. Your finances, you don't know if that's him or you think it's not him, so you stuck it in your pocket, you withhold. It's idolatry. The same as me withholding my emotions from God and worshiping him there and letting him heal me there was idolatry. I was withholding, I didn't know it. And when I gave that simple message, I had an hour of people coming up with questions with, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. It was very simple. But we need each other to see the most simplest of truths in God. And it boils down to this. My dad is not a healing preacher. He's not a prosperity preacher. He is a integrity of the Word of God and faith in his Word. All the other is a result and an outpouring of doing that, because those things are in his Word. He bought and paid for those things. If you believe it in the Word and you put faith in it, you say, I believe that, you choose it, things happen. And I don't know, I just wanted to clarify that, because it's not about the money. If it was, there's so many times where, would have been depressed and quit. It's expensive to do what we do.
I understand.
And there's always times where you still have to walk and live by faith.
We all do, yes.
Especially my brother may be the one that has to live by faith the most. He's running the ministry. My dad just gives it away.
Now, right?
Yeah, my dad's just like giving it away. And yet, we walk and live by faith.
No.
And so faith works for anybody because his word is true. And yet what I had to have caused me to know him in his presence in a way I didn't. And so now I think when I know his word, it's like this contract that is binding, and yet now I know Jesus in a way I didn't. And there's something so wonderful about that. I know him. I trust him more than just reading the words on the page. It's such a marriage of spirit and word that I believe that's what God's doing. And I think that's why unity is so critical. I do think there's people that need to hear what my dad preaches.
Yeah. I know lots of them need to hear that.
And I know there's a lot of people out there, I don't even know what I need yet. That's so fun.
Yes.
I just call it adventuring in the Lord again.
Good.
Like, we don't need to be too big that we know everything.
Yeah. Grandma always told me, if somebody has more of God than you do, don't criticize them, go over and get it.
Yeah, go get to know them. Yes.
So that's helped me not get stuck in one camp or one tribe where I can cross-pollinate to all the streams and receive, because that one line has helped me. If somebody has more of God than you do, go over and get it. Don't criticize them. Go over and learn what it is, find out about it, ask questions, and bring it.
Yes.
And that has helped me all over the world.
I heard Bill Johnson say, I'd rather be a novice at the new than an expert at the old.
That's a good statement.
It's not that God does, it's like all the things still matter.
Yeah.
They just need to come together and they need to grow up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You have a lot to do with that. I really believe that.
I try.
You're like a cross-pollinator.
Well, I go to all the streams.
Yeah.
But Lester Summerall was one of my spiritual dads. And so he told me when I first started to get out there and cross-pollinate, because I grew up in Tulsa. I was born there. So the Tulsa world and the Hagen world, I love it all. I'm a Hagenite, so I love it. And but because of the generals, God's generals, I go everywhere. People read those, so I get to go into all the camps and the streams, and I get to bring up people's names, like your dad, and say, that's not the way that is, and begin to answer and begin to put things together. And I've been able to do that all over the world, also with the prophetic people and the faith people. They have a little problem there too. The prophetic people scare some of the faith people. And you have to kind of get them to understand how that all works. They're okay. They're just in the spirit all the time.
I love them, though. I'm one of them now. Yeah.
Well, you're the one that cross-pollinates that. When I was a young kid and an evangelist, teenage evangelist, I heard Hagen prophesied they'll come, the streams will come together. Well, I saw it at Southwest Believers for the faith people last year when you had Shuttlesworth, Johnson, Benny, and people that I'm thinking,
Bill Johnson.
Yeah, it's always there. And I'm like, it's just interesting. But I think that's wonderful, because I feel like the faith people, if they would have been more alive in some of the prophetic streams, they'd have been a little healthier. The word would have been in there and helped some of these streams, but for some reason, people don't talk to each other.
I have a theory.
What's the theory? Let's solve the world's
problems
problems
today. I have a working theory.
Okay.
I'm kind of one of those people who likes to know why things work, But I do believe that and I think I saw this in some of the things that you were producing, like these movements that split.
Yeah.
And then another movement splits, right?
Yeah.
And we tend to see that as all negative. Of course, the devil, anything God's doing, the devil's going to try to get in and take it sideways. But we always need to stop and not look at what the devil's doing, but Lord, what are you doing? What are you doing in this change?
Yeah.
Because what I think happened is all of these splits, they weren't necessarily like, I hate you now splits, like a church split. It's just more interest split.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, there really was more prophetic, and I'm 62. So there was more prophetic.
62?
I am.
I just turned 60 Saturday.
All right.
So I'm the new kid
You're
in the block.
survive it.
I'm going to survive it. All right.
But those splits happen because of interest. Like we started really digging down into just faith, the word, finances, healing. But then this group over here, and they're still casting out the devil. My grandmother was a real devil warrior. I mean, I sat at the top of her stairs, and her Bible study was down there, and weird things happened down there. I'm telling you, and I was like fascinated. Devil's cast out. She cast the devil out of me of drinking and alcohol, and I was 6.
Wow.
Cough it out, honey. Cough it out. She
That's a
said,
good
cough
thing
it out,
also.
honey. And yet, we stopped doing that.
Hmm.
And so I met Katie Souza,
Oh.
and I'm like, I feel familiar with the things that she's saying. At
Yeah.
first, I was like, that sounds weird. But I was like, this is my grandmother.
Yeah.
And I'm remembering some of those things. So I think we split to go deep.
Okay, the focus, yeah.
Think about it, how deep the body of Christ has gone. You can never go deep and wide at the same time. But it's been so easy for me. Of course, I'm deep in the things that my dad was called to preach. But it's been very easy, and it makes me think about the North Texas, where we're from in Fort Worth, was one of the first. Like, they started drilling for gas. Our property actually had gas on it, and they couldn't get to it because of the Barnett Shale was like hundreds of feet deep of rock. And so it took years to develop a drill that could go all the way down and then go sideways.
Oh, yeah.
So they go all the way down, and they will go down. They'll have a gas pad. If you fly over DFW, you see all these beige gas pads.
Yeah.
They drill down, but they have to pay you a royalty if they go sideways and get the gas at your property underneath that rock. But they can, one drill, they can go all over and get the gas from all the surrounding area. And I kind of see it like, if we drill down deep, there is a Spirit of God. We're tapping down in here where we've all worked through the rock. I don't have to work through the rock to go over to Bethel or to go over to some of these other places where I can encounter the Spirit of the Lord in a way I never knew Him. It's so quick to grow and go wide. I really think that we're in an end-time move of the Lord. We were focused on different things, but coming together is going to make an explosion.
And that's happening today.
Yeah.
It's happening. I love it.
That's my theory.
I think it's good. So great to have you with us today.
Thank you.
One more question. Give me one story from your ministry. Now, you travel and preach. Mm-hmm. Do you go overseas?
I do. I love to. I don't do it as often as I like.
So tell me more about what you do, because I see you at the conventions and things, and I see you on TV. So you're doing television and...
Well, I work full-time for KCM, Kellie Copeland Ministries. I started my own ministry.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I kind of started my ministry so I could have a conference, because I heard the Lord talk about having a freedom conference. I'm like, well, I guess it's time to start a ministry.
Wow.
So then I started a program. So I have a show, and I go out for Kellie Copeland Ministries, or I usually go out for KCM. It's just kind of the context of what I'm doing. Depends, but I'm doing more ministry at KCM.
I feel like you're going to be out there more. I can sense that.
I feel that it's time.
You're going to go out there, so
my kids are 15.
The water's warm out here. Come on out.
I have a 15-year-old all the way up to 42-year-olds. So most of mine are grown and older, and I got this 15-year-old that we do life, just me and her together. And I do believe that I'm a mom. God's allowed me to be a mom, and raise my kids. That's so important. And I feel like there's some things that are coming based on her growing up and, things like that. But little by little, I also I've done some maturity and growing on the inside in these last 10 years. And I've realized...
Good. We're glad we all keep growing, yes.
I am not the same person, and I'm so grateful for the Lord walking me through that. The things I look back on my past and the things He's healed me of, I wouldn't be out there. I would be out there doing something different than I know I'm called to do now. It's like your calling is refined in those times when you're just growing up in Him.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hidden. I think those should be the best times of life.
The best times.
When you're hidden. So I don't know. I'm here for whatever.
I feel like you're going to be out there. We need the faith people to cross-pollinate, and right now, as I travel, there's more openness for this to happen. I'm like, come on, guys.
I'm ready. I'm available.
Get out and go. And they're willing to listen. They're not hostile. There used to be hostility, but it's more like, can you explain that? And you can talk, and it works. And I think it's going to be great for you to do that.
It feels like the timing of the Lord.
Yeah,
it really
perfect.
does.
It's
not
great.
something we have to fight for.
Thank God.
Yes.
It's over. Well, thanks for sharing
Thank
with me.
you
We'll
so
put some
much.
time together soon.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.